Screw Fire Emblem. Shadow the Hedgehog is what we need.
Am I right?
Is he right?
Gotta go fast. Gotta go fast. Gotta go fast, too fast, too fast, faster, faster.
Alright, we're back. I actually just had like a full 2-minute.
Yeah, like I literally stared into Josh's eyes and I saw nothing.
You saw shadow.
I saw, yeah. Very good. Very good. That was a good one. Oh! Oh god, those are my favorite laughs. Like the ones that just like slowly fade out. They're like,
That wasn't funny at all. That wasn't.
because then at that point you're like, are you being sarcastic?
Of course I'm being sarcastic!
Of course. It's even worse that you can't understand my sarcasm. That makes it even less funny.
God damn it.
Did you ever, I know it's kind of out of the blue and a random question, but did you ever, like, draw comics when you were a kid?
I actually did. Not that I was like a really good artist or anything, but I would draw like the Adventures of Stickman. And that was literally what it was called. And
Adventures of Stickman.
It was just a stick figure, and it was like incredibly violent, like, I don't know. I want to find some notebooks from when I was a kid to see some of the things I fucking did.
I found actually the other day, the reason I asked because I found this one comic. I used to make comics every single day and put them in this binder. And I was trying to make a comic book so I could just sell them. You know, sell the book, make like copies and maybe sell them. Because I was just like a very idealistic kid. I'm like, yeah, I can make things and make money off of them. And so I made this entire book of comics, and I made my friends read them every single day. And they're like, oh god, can you not another comic? But this one, it was called Bully on the Loose. And it was my friend Max, and he was portrayed as this like big Jewish, like Jew curls, like really, really fat, like bully. And this kid gets on the bus, and he's like, man, I don't have anywhere to sit, and I don't want to sit next to that kid. And the kid was like crippled. It's like, what? I don't know where this darkness came that was in me, but like I don't want to sit next to that. I don't want to move these guys up. I'm really kind of nervous. I'm just gonna do it just gradually.
So it doesn't look like they're gonna keep coming at you with a little blaster.
But the whole premise around it was just he goes and he sits next to the bully, and he says something like to the bully that makes him super, super angry. The bully beats the loving hell out of him. It's like this giant fight, and then you just see the bully, I mean, you see like the kid get kicked out of the school bus, like through the window, the escape window, on the ground bleeding, and you're like, oh man, I hate the bully. And people loved it. Like, my friends were like, Keen, this is like the best comic you've ever done. I'm like, oh my god, and I actually made like copies of it, and I tried to sell it for like 10 cents a pop. I was hustling.
Damn. No, no, none of the shit that I wrote I actually had anybody read because I was too self-conscious about it. But, like, it was, I don't know, because, like, I don't know, I was a very, like, as a kid, I would like to draw very violent things, and, like, I was always very imaginative and creative with, like, certain ways to do stuff like that. But yeah, I remember making, like, the Adventures of Stickman. It was very, like, cliche trope of, like, maiden in distress, basically. Like, he has, like, this great relationship with this girl, and then she gets kidnapped, and, like, he has to save her and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And, of course, like, I'm always, like, I've said it, like, a million times, I'm a sucker for that shit anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, for me to just be able to write it, obviously. And, like, I remember, like, actually having, like, dialogue and, like, taking up, like, pages in a notebook on it. I remember writing it mostly in my conservation class. Actually, specifically.
Speaking of, like, taking up pages, I actually wrote a, God, I think it was in, like, in 7th or 8th grade, I wrote a book. And, I mean, the books together were almost like about 1,000 pages. Like, I wrote on and on and on about, I'm never gonna be able to relocate it because it was on like an old computer. And God knows what it was about, but like I made my mom read it, and like some of the stuff was like, and the horses, they had eyes on their, they had knives on their eyes, and they looked to the west, and they rode. And I was like, what? It was like some of the stupidest stuff.
Your mom's like, oh, that's good, honey.
And, what was the thing? Oh yeah, instead of pistols, it was pistols. Because I spelt it incorrectly. And god dang
Did you
it.
spell it incorrectly the whole time?
Yeah.
actually even more perfect.
25 damage to, yeah, she'll be okay, I'm sure. No, she's not gonna be okay. How am I gonna do this? I just don't want him to take too much damage.
Yeah. Can't you, wait, can you move hit? Oh, no, he's already there.
I'll just do this.
Oh. What was it? There was, I would say, like, I don't know, like, there were so many stories, ideas that I always wanted to write, but then, like, I just, like, I never, in my free time, ever wrote anything. It was usually, like, if the school made me, write something, I always enjoyed writing something on it.
Yeah.
Like, there was a story of, like, what if King Arthur survived, and stuff like that, and so you got to, like, write a story of, like, what happened to King Arthur. Like, I completely created, like, my own story on, like, he, like, fell into the lake, and, like, he got washed up here, was found by this person, which I actually named Lavitz.
Just, like,
which was
like,
based after...
Right off the whole, like, story to Inception before it actually gets written.
No.
It's like, I own that!
But, like, I had the, like, he basically didn't like, King Arthur didn't let anybody know that he was King Arthur. The person that found him was Lavitz, after my favorite character from Legend of Dragoon. Like, completely same exact type of character, too.
Yeah.
But, like, I end up having it where, like, Albert actually makes it all the way to, like, the final battle for, like, the kingdom, and, like, does not reveal he's king at all, and, like, I gave it, like, a really shitty ending, but I thought it was cool at the time, and if I did it right, I probably could have been cooler. But I kind of wanted to make it a you determine what happened ending.
Oh, that's cool.
And, like, it was basically, like, he just dies in Lavitz's hands on the battlefield. So it's like, you can be like, his heart gave out, or he bled to death, or somebody came up from beside him and, like, killed him, or, you know.
Right.
And, like, I tried to do that, but then, like, I actually read what, like, the ending was, and I was like, oh, I could have wrote that much better. Oof.
Just like, you look at the ending again, it's just like, I had a dog named Spot. He was a good dog.
Everything else I remember was awesome. I got like an 89 on it. So I was like, sweet. But I think my favorite thing that I wrote was I was huge into Tool at the time.
Yeah.
And Vicarious was like my favorite song that came out by them. And we read Beowulf.
Yep.
And we got to write, and one of the projects we could choose from on the list was write like a short story from Grendel's point of view.
Oh, that's cool.
And so I named it The Vicarious Grendel.
Mm-hmm.
And it was basically Grendel wasn't a bad person, he was more angry and upset that Beowulf was actually like a terrible person, and like Grendel wasn't like the worst person, like had a reason for doing what he did, or he didn't actually do what he did. And stuff like that, and, like, writing the story from his mom's point of view as well. Like, later on, there's another story where, like,
yeah,
you know, his mother comes back, and so, like, writing it from her point of view. And, like, I don't know, like, I feel like to come up with something original, I can do it pretty well, but it would take longer. But, like, if somebody's like, here's an idea...
Right, they give you a good prompt to work off of. I always did appreciate when, like, teachers gave you good prompts. And I know probably some of the times it just wasn't them, like, the school probably gave them prompts to actually work with, but, like, I always appreciated that, like, something I could work pretty easily off of.
Oh, yeah. Especially because, like, we had to read Beowulf, and, like, we talked about different, you know, circumstances of why, and yada yada, and, like, there's a chance that Grendel wasn't even a monster, and it might have just been, like, a deformed, like, disfigured human and stuff like that. So, like, I just kind of was like, alright, imagination's gonna go wild on this one, and I can't wait. Because that was always, like, my biggest thing as a kid growing up, was my imagination was always, a sight to behold, really.
Did you ever once, when you were just in your experience at school, get accused of, like, cheating from your teacher?
No.
There was this one time that, like, the teacher actually really liked me, and I think it was just because the teacher kind of had, like, maybe a little bit of a big head, but we got our test back, and we like to go through the answers in class of, like, the math tests. Mm-hmm. And I looked at the answer, and I was like, wait, this is completely right. And, like, I went up to the teacher, and I used to have, like, the erasers that didn't work, you know, 100%, because God knows those pencils still exist, where, like, you go to erase something, it's like, nope! Large smudge, sorry. But, the teacher's like, oh, you clearly just crossed this off, and, you know, put in your own answer to get yourself a better grade. And I was like, what?
Wow.
I was like the nicest child too, and I was just like, are you serious?
Wow.
Oh man, that felt awful.
No, there
And
was...
she did it in front of the class too. I'm just like,
Oh, that's
ugh.
even worse. That's actually awful on her part, in my opinion.
Yeah.
No, the only thing that happened was when I was in college, I sent, we had to write, my computer programming class, we had to do out a program. Well, I deleted the wrong one and sent the wrong one, so I basically sent a plagiarized, and like,
Hey, you got a coin.
the guy was like, it sent me an email back, it was just like, here's what you literally copied, and
Oh,
like,
God.
he's like, I'm giving you a 0 for plagiarism, but I'm not gonna like go any further with it, and I was just like,
Holy
I
Jesus.
was like, I'm not gonna fight it, I'm just gonna let this go, cause I'm not if he's willing to drop it, I'm not even taking the chance,
Right.
cause that's a
He's
serious
bringing him to
problem.
court.
It's like, I know that's a serious thing,
Yeah.
you know.
Incriminating.
I mean, I probably shouldn't even say that I did it and it happened, but like, it was.
Oh, I mean, Josh would never plagiarize. Nice, I got 2 attacks off. Beautiful. Well done, sir.
Good job.
Nolan,
Now,
you're beautiful.
let's see what you can do next time.
Let's see what you can do. Let's see the positions you can see.
Let's see what kind of
Let's see flexors.
how flexible. I can't even touch my toes.
Oh man. Let's
Yeah.
see. Can I touch?
Yeah, I can touch my foot to my nose, but I
I can
can't
touch
my
my
toes.
foot to the mic.
Can I touch my wee wee? I mean, I don't think it's a matter of can.